Happy 10th birthday to NXT. Was it really 10 years ago where you and I watched the first episode with wide eyes, saying things like, why is Daniel Bryan being coached by The Miz? What nonsense is that? And what's a Skip Sheffield? 10 years removed, NXT is a very, very different beast. And we begin a brand new decade with kings, queens, princes, and a whole bunch of big, beefy boys battering each other. My name is Tom Campbell, and this is NXT Graded. We start with Charlotte Flair arriving at Full Sail University. This feels like a big deal tonight, Flair and Belair. It's going to be the main event match of the night, and there's a special aura about it, and we'll talk about it a bit later on. We open NXT this week with Dominik Dijakovic and Cameron Grimes. Now, Grimes gets a really good showing in this one, but it's all about the power game of Dijakovic, who at one point just ragdolls Cameron Grimes over the top rope. It was pretty grim. Also, Dominik Dijakovic seems to have a new trademark move going on. He's turning that release vertical suplex into a thing. He hooked up Grimes, shouted, "It's time to fly," and then just hoyed him across the ring. And as every self-respecting wrestling fan knows, when you add a signature catchphrase to a trademark hold, it adds 5 times onto its power. Dijakovic hits a beaut of a moonsault late into this match, but he cannot capitalize on it because as he's getting back into the ring, he gets his legs clattered by a nightstick swinging Damian Priest, who legs it into the crowd like a thief in the night. Dijakovic almost gets counted out, manages to roll back into the ring just in time to beat the count, only to eat a cave-in from Grimes for the 1, 2, 3. Later on in the night, we do hear from Damian Priest, who sets out his stall, basically saying he wants a match against Keith Lee for the North American Championship. B- for this. These two work beautifully together, and I am really enjoying the depth of the NXT North American division. Lots of opportunities for potential matches heading into Keith Lee's next title defense. William Regal makes a huge announcement here. We are going to get a multi-woman ladder match at NXT TakeOver Tampa Bay, with the winner becoming the #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. And qualifying matches will start next week. Now, obviously, Rhea Ripley is taking the women's belt onto the WrestleMania card. So I was curious as to how they were going to represent the women's division on TakeOver Tampa Bay. And this seems like a great way to do it. I feel like Bianca Belair will probably end up in the mix here if she doesn't end up doing something on the Sunday, and I feel like she will own this if this is where we go, but we will see as the weeks go on. Finn Bálor is out for a chat now. He talks about making countries, making divisions, making championships, and he wants to know who is next to get the Finn Bálor rub. Actually, it's me. I got some the other day, and it tastes really nice on steak or maybe corn mince. Just adds a little bit of texture to everything. It's beautiful. Finn Bálor is interrupted by Imperium's Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner, who send greetings from the Ring General Walter. They proceed to try and attack Bálor, but Bálor gets in there first, but the numbers game overwhelm, and Fabian and Marcel leave Finn Bálor out on the floor. What is Finn Bálor gonna do next? We've got no idea. He's booked to do NXT UK TV in Coventry next month. What's Bálor gonna do next? We have no idea. The next NXT UK takeover's in Dublin, Ireland. I just have no idea what Bálor's gonna do next. It's a mystery. This was an A. Really love this. Finn Bálor is just so good at nailing these short, succinct, little laden with liners type promos. He just nails them so well. And it's a really fresh story to see Bálor fighting Imperium. I'm here for it. Xia Li takes on Mia Yim. Handshake to start a short and friendly encounter. Just as Mia Yim hits the Eat Defeat, out comes Dakota Kai and Raquel González. And Dakota Kai says, "Hey, you took my spot in the War Games match from me, and I'm ready for some revenge." This gives Xia Li the opening to roll up for the 1, 2, 3. Xia Li gets a cheeky win over Mia Yim, but Mia Yim doesn't really have much time to think about it, because seconds later she's being clobbered by Raquel González. Xia Li tries to make the save, and Mario Ronaldo makes me chuckle here because he says, Xia Li believes in fair play. She doesn't want to win that way. Well, she just took a schoolboy win. So I don't know what your story is. Either way, Raquel González batters Xia Li and then batters Mia Yim. Hits a really nice one-handed powerbomb on Mia Yim. Leaves her laying. C+ for this. This is obviously building to something more between Mia Yim and Dakota Kai. And just also there to make Raquel look like a dominant figure. Mission accomplished. Velveteen Dream is backstage and he's cutting a promo into a beautiful purple mirror. And he is advising Roderick Strong that because he broke his back, the Dream wants him to experience the steel cage. And Dream asks Regal to leave the cage up next week. So obviously we've got Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox in a cage next week. Dream is now saying we're going to have another cage match after that one. I like this. I like how a gimmick match suits a feud. Rather than it being, here's two guys feuding in October, they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match. Here's a couple of guys feuding in February, stick them in an elimination chamber. I kind of feel like this feud needs a cage, you know, or what with Undisputed Era getting involved last time. Makes sense to put this in a cage. Austin Theory takes on Tommaso Ciampa next. Between a video package earlier on and the commentation station during the match, Austin Theory looks and sounds like a star. They do everything in their power to tell you that this is the guy. This is a future superstar in NXT. And you know what? Tommaso Ciampa certainly makes him look that way as well. These two have a really incredible match, born out of last week's shenanigans when a white-hot Ciampa just threw Austin Theory around like he was nothing. Very different match this time, as Theory really gets some good licks in on Ciampa. Some good bits in this one, like Austin Theory going for that rolling blockbuster, only to eat a big old knee from Ciampa. That really brought the crowd to life. We get to see Theory bust out the ataxia, which apparently is called that because it affects coordination, balance, and speech. Big thank you to NHS Direct for that one. And we see a really fun moment where Austin Theory looks to get revenge for last week, you know, where Ciampa threw him from like barricade to barricade to barricade to barricade. Theory grabs Ciampa by the face, shouts into his face, "Ruthless aggression." Someone's been watching the network, and goes all the way back to 2002 and ruthlessly aggresses Ciampa, bouncing him from barricade to barricade to barricade. This was cool. However, it was the undoing of Austin Theory. He took too long getting back into the ring after he threw Ciampa back in. Ciampa hits Willow's bell as Theory's getting in. Fairy tale ending, 1, 2, 3, and Tommaso Ciampa picks up the win. Shortly after this, Johnny Gargano hits the ring and starts the attack on Ciampa. Ciampa starts to fight back against him. Theory gets involved. Ciampa bats Theory away, and then Gargano just kicks the bejesus out of Ciampa. Two really nice, well-shot bits follow. We see Ciampa out of it on the apron, and Gargano sat next to him doing a slow clap. Bit like Ciampa does, sat on the apron. Then Ciampa gets thrown to the floor, and Gargano just circles Ciampa outside the ring, and he's circling him around a bit on the ramp, rather, not the ring, around the ramp, which says, "Take over Tampa Bay." This was an A. This was an A. Love the match. Theory lost nothing in losing. Theory was made to look like a star here, and we build towards Ciampa Gargano, which is going to be a potential show stealer that weekend as well. And some really nice, well-framed bits. There's no chemistry quite like the chemistry between Ciampa and Gargano. So I'm ready for TakeOver Tampa Bay. We briefly hear from the Undisputed Era backstage. They're ready to get the prophecy back on track. Fish and O'Reilly want another shot at the Broserweight. Strong wants to wipe out Velveteen Dream in the cage. Once we hear from them, it's time to go back to the ring for some big, beefy boys battering each other. It's Killian Dain versus Bronson Reid. Oh, gosh. Do love the Hoss division in NXT. Bronson Reid looks stunning in this match. He does a beautiful dive to the outside of the ring at one point. And there's a moment in this match where both Reid and Dane do dual cross body blocks. I genuinely thought one of them would be sick. Made me feel ill watching it, just bashing into each other like that. Looked like Bronson Reid was going to win this one, however, Killian Dain was able to rally, hit a superplex off the top rope, followed by 2 big old sentons and a Vader bomb for the 1, 2, 3, and done. Giving this, for these guys, a B-. I really enjoyed the chemistry with these guys. Just fast-paced and just weirdly agile. And again, they're being kind of put on commentary, put over as part of this really hot North American division, which I'm fine about. The Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Forgotten Sons now. This stems from last week, where the Forgotten Sons want to defend America against these 2 British people who are very anti-America. Gibson was rubbish in America before the Forgotten Sons made their way out, and off to the races we go. Beth Phoenix on commentary is really upset about Zach Gibson's anti-American comments, mocking Britain for its love of Mr. Blobby. Beth, you know I love you. Mr. Blobby is a national institution. He is a treasure. I'm going to let it slide on this occasion, but I swear to God, the day you start mocking Okie Doke on commentary, you and I are going to have problems. Lots of intensity from Blake and Cutler in this match, but it's all about the Grizzled Young Veterans. A really wily moment at the end of this match as Blake goes for a moonsault off the top rope onto Gibson. We see Drake push Gibson out of the way, so the pool is empty for Blake, who just eats the ground, followed by a ticket to mayhem for the 1, 2, 3. Giving this a C+, it was a solid match by everybody involved. Grizzled Young Veterans are clearly on the rise in NXT. I don't know what to make of Forgotten Sons. I feel like they like them, but they struggle to find a hole for them to fit in. They were angry, nasty heels. Now they kind of seem to be defended America. Is that the new thing? Don't know. Not sure about them. Grizzled Young Veterans though, it's all about them. This is all about building them. And so we come to main event o'clock. It's Bianca Belair taking on Charlotte Flair. Chance of "you don't go" here ring out to start the match, and this feels like a big deal. This is a proper main event match. This feels like Bianca Belair's coming out party. I know we had that amazing showing from Belair in the Royal Rumble this year, but one-on-one with Charlotte, this feels like a big deal. And we see early stages Bianca Belair really getting the one up on Charlotte Flair, but eventually the wily Charlotte starts to wear down Belair, and really Charlotte feels like her dad here. There's a guy who shouts in the crowd something to Charlotte, and you just hear Charlotte shout, "Shut your big fat mouth!" And everybody reacts and boos and cheers and all this stuff. We see Charlotte just giving those hard chops and just swaggering around the ring like she owns it. Oh, she was so nature here. She was so nature. It was great. Bianca fights out of a dragon sleeper by running up the ropes. That looked really good. She flipped over the back. We see Bianca finally start to try and mount another comeback, but alas, Charlotte just keeps shutting her down. Charlotte goes up for a moonsault and Bianca gets her feet up, to which Charlotte manages to stop, grab her feet and turn it into an elevated Boston Crab. That was a really fun moment as well. Charlotte has just kind of kept Bianca just on the back foot, and Bianca starts to rally once again, and we see a beautiful spear nailed by Bianca Belair, but Charlotte Flair kind of gets hit by it, recoils, climbs back to her feet, and with her last burst of energy, hits a spear on Bianca Belair instead for the 1, 2, 3. And that's it. Clean as a whistle. Charlotte has just pinned Bianca Belair. A stunning match between these two. Charlotte rolls out of the ring. She's wasted no time. She's furious. She gets a steel chair. We suddenly hear Rhea Ripley's music hit. And as Ripley's music is hitting, we see Charlotte put the steel chair over the leg of Bianca Belair, Pillmanize the leg by stamping on it and locking the figure 4. All the while, Rhea Ripley is slowly making her way down to the ring, doing her pose on the top of the ramp and all of this stuff before eventually running off Charlotte Flair. This felt a bit weird at the end. It was either they were running short of time, so they had to sort of wrap up the segment fairly quickly, or Rhea Ripley's music hit too soon and they just kind of rolled with it. Or alternatively, Charlotte Flair is doing the damage on Bianca Belair. Ripley's not in a mad rush to save Bianca. Maybe she wants Bianca to be her. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like it was more of a botch. Possibly. I don't know. Doesn't affect the match though. This was an A as a main event. I loved it. Really, really big fight feel. Bianca Belair's stock rose exponentially for being involved in this as well. Giving this a B this week, I thought it was a really, really good show. Lots of good things happening in this. Lots of little elements being built towards Tampa Bay and beyond as well. And when you think about where we were 10 years ago, you know, we were watching indie wrestling superstar Bryan Danielson carrying barrels around the ring. We've come a long, long way, baby. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.